See, isn't it amazing that we can touch each other. We can touch each other in such a special way that we are encouraged to go ahead and do the thing that we know that we want to do or we ought to do anyhow. So I thank you all for sharing that. I only have 5 minutes to give the talk, however. But everything that all of you have shared really is an element in the talk that I was going to give. Because we're talking about love and we're talking about the love of self. And in order for each one of you to have found your truth, you are in a search, and indeed you have embraced your authentic self. You have loved yourself enough to allow yourself to investigate, to allow yourself to speak to you, that inner voice, and to make the decision because you found what to you is the truth. With everything that I've been told by members of my family about you need to come back to the truth, and I retort at times, vehemently, I have found the truth. Because when you find the truth, the scripture says, it'll set you free. And so the truth liberates you. The truth liberates you because you become almost in love with that authentic self within you. And you know that it is the truth because you know that it is God within you, love, God as love, God expressing through you as love by means of you. You know that as you love that authentic self, you are loving God. You're loving that expression of God within you. How could you help but love yourself? The text lessons I'll share with you that you can peruse during the week anyway, it's the scriptures, 1 John chapter 3 verses 1 through 4 or 5, and you can continue reading because it's so wonderful, the scripture. Such great inspiration in those scriptures about the truth of who you are. It tells you who you are. Science of Mind text, page 503. And then there was another great scripture that parallel with the teachings of Science of Mind on page 40, Science of Mind text, and another scripture in 1 John chapter 4 verses 7 and beyond. And so very quickly, let me just give you an abbreviation of the talk. Empowerment by love, or love empowers you. Now ask the question, what is love? Or maybe I ought to ask, who is love? Who is love? Science of Mind, teaches that love is the outpouring of spirit. It is the givingness of life. Spirit given of itself, to its creation. Because you and I are extensions of the Spirit of God. We are expressions, and therefore we have inherently the attributes of love, because we are love in expression. Get that? We are love in expression. And so the givingness of love to itself allows us to give ourselves permission to be who we want to be, to have what we want to have, and to do the things that we want to do. So love liberates. Now, the principle of love is not to be confused with mere sentimentality. Even though that's a form of love, there are all different forms of love, aspects of love. But love is the great transforming power that brings everything into harmony. When you embrace the love within you, the authentic self, you begin to bring everything about your life into a harmonious relationship. And because of that, you can be liberated from the negative things that you may have experienced. You can be liberated from the past that sometimes haunts us because of the experiences we might have had. You can be liberated because love is the motivating power of all that is fine and noble in life. And so in prayer and treatment work, when we do our prayer and treatment work, love transforms. It transforms us because of our realization of who we are, that we are children of God, and that's a very comforting and a reassuring thing, that we are children of the Most High. Love empowers us because when we love our authentic self, we give ourselves permission, as I said, to do the things that we want to do, to have the experiences that we really truly would like to have. You know, there's a definition of empowerment that I thought was somewhat limiting, but it did say that it authorizes or permits you to do something. And so empowerment through love is your desire to experience something by giving yourself permission to do it. Now, we love the truth that is within us, and therefore we understand that our innate capacity to lovingly assert our true identity is possible. Loving your authentic self and being empowered allows you to unlimit yourself. Now we know that the mind or the Spirit of God is limitless. The universe is a limitless expression of life. But sometimes we can't limit the universe or limit God by anything that we do, obviously, or say. However, we limit our individual use of that power when we do not love ourselves enough. We limit our use of it. When we refuse to accept abuse of any kind, emotional, verbal, or any other kind, we are on the right path. We are loving ourselves and truly asserting who we are as expressions of the Most High. We love ourselves in a way that empowers us to move into a new space, a new place at a new time in our lives. Most of you may know the story of Ruth and Naomi, and I'll be brief. Naomi was returning to her country in the Old Testament scriptures in the book of Ruth. And she had lost her husband, and her two daughters-in-laws had lost their husbands. And they were all without a husband. And Oprah, one of the daughters-in-law, Ruth's sister actually, decided that she would go back to her own people. But Ruth said, no, I'm not going back. She says, I want to stay with you, Naomi. Your people will be my people. Your God will be my God. And everything that you do, I will share with you. I'm staying with you. And she made that commitment because there was a sense of authentic love. The love that binds you, the love that gives you the permission to do the things that you want to do, with whom you want to do, when you want to do, and to experience all the good that comes with it. It brings you into a new season of harvesting. Harvesting, well, it's a kind of service. Ruth went ahead and became very fortunate. She was not afraid because she loved herself and she demonstrated the love for her mother-in-law through service. And because of that, she was brought into a whole new experience, a newness of life. She ended up marrying one of the cousins, I think, of Naomi, and became very, very wealthy. because of him. You see, when we love our authentic selves, we're not afraid to move into a new place, to have a new experience. We're not afraid because we have this quiet inner confidence and this assurance that God is going to be there for us no matter where we go, what we do, and with whom we're with. The will of God is going to express itself for us, and because it is always for our highest good, we can rest assured that the experience in a new place at a new time is the one for us. We're not afraid. Loving your authentic self empowers you. I'm going to share a quick reading with you from Emily Cady to Unity, one of the great teachers in the history of Unity. She writes this about empowerment. She said that all joy and strength and good spring up from a fountain within one's own being. And if we only knew this truth, we should know that because God in us is the fountain out of which springs all our good, nothing that anyone does or says or fails to do or say can take away our joy and our good. It is because we are willing to love ourselves and to love the authentic selves within us. Because empowerment doesn't come from having power. It comes from knowing who we truly are, loving ourselves and loving others. When we really believe in our own dignity and sacred value, we have no need to deny the divine presence in anyone else. When we trust our own goodness, we see the goodness of others. And when we see goodness, we love it. Empowerment isn't keeping others down. It's building ourselves up and inviting all of those in our world to join us in a place of divine peace. Empowerment by love liberates you. It empowers you to be the person you want to be, to do and to have the things you want to do and have. Empowerment through love establishes you firmly in the law of good, and you are able to experience all of God's goodness. As I said, I'll abbreviate it, and so I encourage you to go forward and do the things that you want to do, have the things you want to have, and to be the person that you want to be, because God is love, you are love. That's my message. Thank you. I just want to take a quick minute to encourage you. If you haven't read this book, This Thing Called You by Ernest Holmes, absolutely wonderful book. If you haven't read it, get a copy. There's some on the book table, but it's a great book to have in your arsenal for your daily encouragement. But every one of